This is the inbound secret.
My name is Bryce, and I'm your host for The Inbound Secret, where we're talking with top performers and health experts and sales badasses alike about their strategies to optimize their well-being and performance. Once again, this is The Inbound Secret, and let's get rocking and rolling.
This is the inbound. This is the inbound. This is the inbound. The inbound. This is the inbound secret. Keep it secret.
Okay, do it.
What's going on, everybody? Bryce here with The Inbound Secret for another episode of the Inbound Secret podcast. You know why you're here. We're talking about performance. We're talking about bullshit. We're talking about, hell, even beers today. And we got our one main man, Pedro, with Marketing Brewing Company. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you, man, for having me here in your podcast. For those who don't know me, my name is Pedro Meneses. I own a company called the Marketing Brewing Company. And pretty much what we do is that we help and serve the craft beer industry to generate more sales online, through automated systems, through Facebook and Instagram, so they can attract more people online to their tap rooms. In this case, right now, selling beer online because everybody is online now, So that's pretty much what I do. And but I'm excited to be here, man. Thanks for having me here.
Hell yeah, thanks for coming on. Now, for everybody watching, if you're curious, the audio may go in and out. We've had some technical difficulties. Pedro made it happen, and he got his phone out, even though his router crashed, his lavalier mic won't work, his headphones aren't working. He's just having a shit show over there, but he's worked through it to be here with y'all. So thank you for making that happen,
the
bud.
Fucking force of average, man.
Oh, coming in hard today.
Man. I'm not gonna let the fucking force of I'm not gonna let. We can talk about that shit right now because I'm not gonna let that bitch of the force of average to bring me down, man. It's gonna happen. We're gonna make it happen no matter what.
Let's fucking talk about it, man. Because the force of average, for those of you that don't know, the force of average is that non-tangible, I don't know, devil on your shoulder, little piece of crap that wants to keep you down, fucking complacency, whatever you want to call it. That's what the force of average is. And you know me, you're made to thrive, not survive. Consistency conquers complacency. And Pedro, with his majestic beard over here, agrees the same way. So we've both kind of had a crazy fucking day of basically anything that could have possibly gone wrong today has tried to go wrong. We've had client issues. We've had system issues. I was on the phone for 3 fucking hours with Google. And you know what Google told me?
To fuck off.
Pretty fucking much. So we had a Google email issue through G Suite for a client of mine. And it's nothing that we even control. We didn't set it up. We don't manage it. We don't have anything to do with Gmail, but we're like, yeah, let's help. So I hop on the phone and Google, after hours of looking into things, came back and they're like, so you've reached the limit that Gmail will allow for an IMAP server. And I'm like, you're telling me that the reason I'm not getting emails is because I'm using my email? and Google's like, yeah, it's to secure your account. I'm like, from who? Money? Who are you securing the account from?
Right. That's fucking ridiculous, man. But you know what? It's funny that you mentioned all that and it's funny that you said that pretty much everything is going south all day. On my side too, I have my whole studio, I have my whole shed to be in a podcast, and I do my podcast too, but nothing is working at this point right now. But you know what? It's funny because today I made a post in the morning saying that you have to embrace the struggle, which I believe. And this is based on a book that I'm reading right now that is called High Performance Habits. And the author explains how successful people actually embrace the struggle and why it's important for you to embrace that struggle, because it's what makes you better. It's what helps you grow. It's what helps you improve your life. But you cannot literally go in life without struggle. And that's one of the biggest mistakes I used to make, like 10 years ago. I for some reason, when I was like 24 years old, 25 years old, and I was trying to go after in life.
Yeah.
Of like, oh no, I don't want to do mistakes in my life. You know, I was so stupid back then, but after obviously I learned that there's no way we're gonna be out of this life without struggle. But now I enjoy the struggle. You know, like I know that right now you share with your audience how things have been going bad today, but at the end of the day, it's not that things are going bad. It's just challenges, you know. And
it's been a great day. It's been a shit show, but it's been a great day.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have fun, you know, because when you see that comment, it's like, okay, you know that life is against you today, and then it's like, okay, let's fight, motherfucker. You know, like I'm not gonna let you put me down. I'm not gonna let you win this day. I'm gonna win this day. You're not gonna steal my happiness. You're not gonna steal my joy. I'm still gonna crush your ass, you know. So
it's funny it's funny you bring that up, because I think it was like 3 a.m. or something. I'm scrolling through Facebook because I'm an insomniac and I have a problem. So so I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see this little video. It's actually TikTok that somebody shared. And it's this dude that's a public speaker. I don't know who he was. I hadn't seen him before. And he's like, some of you watching this right now think you're a failure because you're in a season of failure. And he said 3 things that one caught my eye. He's like, 1, season of failure, which means that it's not permanent. When you think about what the word season means, it's temporary.
Right.
2, he said, failure is an event. It's never a person. You may think you're a failure. That's not possible. Failure's never a person. It's an event. And then the 3rd thing he said, he's like, look, every one of my successes, your successes, anybody's successes, you just see that shiny little golden apple, but it's stacked on failure. It's like, we didn't get there just because we got lucky. No, we failed so many fucking times that just pure math said, all right, we'll give him one. So
and you know, now that you mentioned that, since I remember, man, everything that I have accomplished in my life is being built during struggle, you know, during hard times. You know, I started my podcast too during a bad season in my life. I started the marketing brewing company during a bad season in my life, you know. So most of the stuff that I have done in my life is being in the middle of a bad situation. But you know, we've been listening right now with my wife. We're Christians, you know, and we follow a church in it's called Transformation Church. But this guy is kind of like a mentor, you know, and we're going through a series right now that is called Planted, Not Buried, you know. And he explains how that's the problem, that when you are planted, it seems and it feels like you're buried, right? Because you're inside under the ground. It's dark, it's tight, it's cold. You don't know what the hell is going on around. There's a lot of pressure, but both situations look the same. But when you realize that when you're in the middle of a struggle, when you're going through hard times, I mean, if you were planted well, if you build your base, your foundation on something solid, and you planted that seed, I mean, it's gonna look dark when whatever you try to build is still in that stage of seed, right? It's gonna look dark, and the first thing is gonna happen is that it's gonna start growing roots, right, before it start going out. And then you start seeing the whole tree or whatever it is you planted. The same thing in his life, you know, like right now a lot of people is struggling and trying to start a business and all that stuff, and they're going through all that process that is necessary to go through, right? Like it is just part of life. It's just part of business, building a business, right? But they feel like they're failing when in reality you're just being planted, you know. You're just growing those roots that they're gonna be the foundation for your success, for when you're gonna be a big ass oak tree, right? You know what I mean? So it is crazy. It is a good analogy to see when you going through a lot of pressure, when you feel like there's nothing going on in your life, but if you know that you put in the work day in and day out, I just know that you're growing those roots. You know, you are building the foundation, so later you can actually have something that is sustainable, that is going to last and basically be a legacy. That's how I see it, you know.
I agree with that, man. I agree with that. And for those of you who don't know me that are watching this, I don't even know, like, I'm not religious by any means. I don't have a particular faith, but I don't know what I'd be, spiritual maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with like aliens. It's too dumb to just assume it doesn't exist. But like, I'm a man of science, so like I just want to see proof. Like, show me proof, and I'm cool with it. But that's, I mean, like, you're one of my close friends, right? Like, you're Christian. I respect that. I'm not gonna like, fuck, I'll sit there and pray with you if you want, right? Like, like that's just who I am. So But I bring that up because I think it's important that a lot of things that like people think are religious don't have to be religious, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
And Stuman did a motivational Monday on this. Prayer's not religious. Prayer's an act of putting something out into the universe and getting it back. And the reason I bring that up is like, especially in times like this, right? Like where COVID came in and basically just kicked everybody in the taint all at once.
Yeah.
Like you're struggling, I'm struggling, Stuman's struggling, fuck, the president's struggling. Everybody has some kind of struggle, right? And it may not be financial, it may be time, it may be something, right? But everybody has their own struggles. And we're all investing in other people and other stuff. And like, if you look at my last, I've got like 8 pieces of software in development over here that are way overdue because problems occurred, right? Like Overseer just finished like a month ago or something, right? It was supposed to be like a 60-day project. It turned into like a year, right? And that's a prime example. Like in the app development side, right? Like the biggest thing that we have to coach and talk to our clients about all the time is, look, you're buying time. You're not buying a program. You're buying time. And if that time needs to go to fixing a problem that comes up that nobody knew existed, that's what it's going to. We may assume day one that it's 6 months. It may be 4 fucking years later and the thing hits the open market because it needed to take that long to perfect it, right?
Absolutely.
And so we talk about that, but I want to, the reason I point those things out is the people that do that, the companies that do that reap the rewards, and it may not be right away. Square, Uber, and like 8 other companies that are like monuments in today's life started in the last recession.
Yeah, yes, that's true. I know that. Yeah, it's crazy. But you know, and everything in this life is like we are. Everything in this world, in this universe is like connected, right? And if you see around you, man, like everything in this life takes time. You know, like I was using that example of the seed. You know, like you're planted. You're not buried, even if you feel that you're doing the job. You're planted, and eventually you're gonna see the fruits, right? And but everything in life is that way. You know, like everything in this life takes time, right? For a new human to born, it takes 9 months. You know.
Yeah.
In the mother's womb, so you can come out and be a new human, right? A little baby, whatever. But the same thing is with nature, you know, with animals and the stars, everything in the galaxy. That takes even millions of time before you can develop a freaking star in the universe, you know.
Yeah.
So it is the same thing with life, man. But there's a lot of pressure. But I think it's about switching your mind, you know, and understanding that struggle and being under pressure is actually comes to your life to serve you. You know, it comes to life to help you and help you grow and become better, and eventually that's why you're seeking. Just get ready, because the more
pressure,
you seek to become,
pressure makes diamonds, man. Pressure makes diamonds.
Exactly. And you know, might be the answer to your prayers. You know, like you want to change your life. Well, guess what, motherfucker? You're gonna go through a lot of pressure before you can become who you're supposed to be. That's just the reality.
I think that was my faith. Like, once again, I'm not religious, so like this isn't me just loving it because of a religion or a faith or belief. Right. But one of my favorite things that was talked about was what was the story? Was it Solomon? He was bestowed wisdom. He was the richest man throughout history, and he asked for wisdom. Yeah, he asked for wisdom. He didn't ask for wealth, jewels, fucking time, company, people, towns, possessions. He asked for wisdom, and that wisdom bestowed him the ability to become historically the most wealthy person for that timeline, that story. Hell, maybe all of humanity and all of existence. We don't know, but it started with wisdom. So, like, I think that goes back to that the old thing that you and me believe in so much. Fuck your excuses, get your mind right. I mean, fuck, I've got "you were made to thrive, not just survive" tattooed on me. So this opens up, and we're kind of wrapping up. We're about 10 minutes out, but I want to focus really on kind of your insights. You know what the Inbound Secret's about. We talk about everything from business to sales acumen to what you do for your health, what you do for your mind, to achieve peak performance, to always keep pushing that envelope. So what have you been doing, especially with the riots that are going on around you? what have you been doing to keep your mind right and to stay at peak performance, to really be able to still come out and help the breweries and the craft tap houses and stuff achieve what they're doing, and keep your house in order with you and Kayla?
Well, first of all, man, I think the most important area that I've been taking in my life is my mindset. You know, that's the main thing that I've been working on, because one of the books that I'm reading right now is the Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And whoever is going to watch this, I recommend you to start reading that book, man. It's going to challenge your entire existence. It's going to challenge your entire beliefs, you know. Everything in your life that you know up to this point is going to challenge you. But
I need to write this down, because I need that book.
Yeah. But it's going to change your life, because this book explains you, man, how literally everything that you put in your mind and every single thought, how it becomes a reality. You know, that's kind of like the short explanation that I can give you of this book. But it goes way beyond, man. It even talks a little bit about quantum physics and all that kind of stuff. And it's very interesting.
Sold.
Stuff.
I'm sold.
You know,
sold. So that's your side gig. Your secret has been you've been hustling books, because it took a whole like 30 seconds, and I'm like, yep, buying a book.
Man, I mean, to be honest with you, this I'm gonna be honest with you. Well, before the pandemic started, and even during the pandemic, I thought that I was working on myself, and you know, I practice gratitude every morning. I go to the gym, and I try to keep my journal where I write down my wins and all that stuff. Just the G code, you know, I follow the G code and I do all that stuff. But at some point, it was not working, you know, and the reason why is because I was choosing the right thoughts, and I was speaking the wrong things into my life. So I couldn't practice all this gratitude and all that stuff. But if next thing I would do is like, shit, I'm mad now because this happens in the business. It's like, now I'm going to be mad for the rest of the day because I'm putting all that shit in my mind. So I think that's the biggest thing that I've been doing, man. And working on my mindset, how allowing me to not only control my emotions, but actually bring my levels of stress down and start seeing clearly how I can help people, you know. And that's how different partnerships came out during the pandemic. Then now we're doing all the online menus for the craft beer industry or the breweries,
awesome.
You know, so they can have access to that and start building all these e-commerce platforms for them, because the industry is changing, and it's going to have a huge part of this industry is going to be online. No matter who you are right now, or if you're listening to this and you're a brewery owner, man, I'm sorry. I know that this is a hospitality industry. I'm not saying that's going to change, but online is going to be a huge part of any business, you know, and the craft beer industry is not excluded. So that's what the things that we've been doing during this time, man. But I think most importantly is just to be aware of that no matter what's going on out there, we cannot control the riots. We cannot control the pandemic. We cannot control the stupid things that the government is doing, but we can control ourselves. We can control our emotions. We can control how we react to things. And one of the things that I have learned during these past few months is that no matter what's, the whole world can be falling apart, I'm still have a choice to make on every single day, you know, and I just keep going with my life. And that's what me and Kayla, we have done, you know. We just kept going with our lives and waking up every day like nothing was happening around us, and that we had a business to build and a family to take care and things to work on ourselves and things to change in our lives too, you know. And I believe, thank God I'm grateful for this pandemic, to be honest with you, because we were going through hard times already before all this shit hit. And when we got into all this, I remember that I told Kayla, hey, you know what? I think life was preparing us for this, you know, and we've been able to.
It's funny you bring that up, saying that you're grateful for the pandemic, because, and I want to make sure that I say this respectfully. Tragedy has occurred. People have been hurt. Lives have been lost. Lives have been changed. This is not against any of that. I do feel empathy and I remorse for that. But conversely to that, I'm also partially grateful for the pandemic, because the pandemic helped me find dozens of holes in my ship. And by my ship, I mean my company, that I wouldn't have known even were there without having to really dig down and find issues. And it's helped us improve. We're still working on improving, but it's forced us to come into a situation where we're like, fuck, we thought we had a tight ship, and then this happens, and we're like, oh. So we've had to restructure employee staff. We've had to restructure how our program's done. We've added tools. We're tuning up all of our websites. We've created, I think, like 15 programs that are just free to the general public just to help. We've added in the ability for net 30 pay and additional financing for people that need it. So we've like, even though this is a bad occurrence worldwide, it caused us to like go look, okay, we're not going to just take this lying down. What's going on? And when we started looking, we're like, oh, we can improve this. We can improve this. We can improve this. We can improve this. And it's given us the ability to do that.
Yeah. And, you know, just to add to that thing with the pandemic, yeah, I didn't, by no means, I meant to say that I don't care about what happens to other people, you know, but you know what happened, man? And I got to be very honest with you. I was a firefighter years ago, you know.
I was not a firefighter. Well, I've done wildland firefighting, but that doesn't really count. So,
but I was a firefighter and a paramedic, you know, before I became an entrepreneur and all that stuff. And I got to tell you something, man. When you work on almost on a daily basis, and your coworkers are life and death, you gain a different perspective for what life and death is, you know. And Ed Milet said in one episode, in his podcast, he was saying that one of the most powerful things that he has decisions that he have made in his life is to be at peace with the fact that one day he's gonna die, you know.
Yeah.
So this is just part of life, man. And I mean, this happens. And the reason why I don't live with fear is because I know that I take care of myself. So I just keep with my life, you know. And even that I feel sorry for the people who were affected for this, you know, like we all been affected for this.
But I think one thing you said, and I'm going to interrupt you for a second because I think it's important, is being at peace with the fact that someday you're going to die. And the reason I say that's the biggest thing was fear mongering. It wasn't COVID necessarily. COVID was a tragedy. People did get sick. I'm not saying they didn't. But if you look at the actual number of people that got sick and then the people that just were afraid of being sick, the fear had just as big of an impact, if not more. So I like that Ed Milet quote. Plus, like, I get asked all the time, like, why do I take 20 plus trips a year to go see people like you or other entrepreneurs or networking events? Why will I just drop something on a whim if I have time? If a friend asks, hey, you want to go do this? I'm more than often, if I can, I'm like, yeah, fuck it. Why not?
Right.
I don't know if I'm waking up tomorrow, so why the fuck not?
Exactly. You know, and you know, it's funny that you say fear, you know, because I don't remember who was that, but it was also at my Ed show, but there was somebody talking about the power of the negative thoughts and all that stuff, you know. And did you know that different clinics across the country, they actually found that 80% of illness is attached to negative thoughts or fear. So
that's crazy.
If you're living in fear, you're making your body fearful, and then you're making your body sick, you know, not only your mind, you know, because whatever your mind says, thinks, is going to be reflected in your body. So think about that, man. That's a very powerful thing. Like, if you don't live in fear, you building yourself to be a healthier person. So it is crazy. You should look at it. I'm going to look it up and send you that episode because they were talking a lot about that, man. So I think that's the most important thing that I can share with everybody, man. Besides hustling every single day and working my ass off and building my company and all these systems too to help the craft beer industry, I think the most powerful thing that I have done during the past 3 months is to work on my mindset and realize that it's not only about practicing gratitude and having a journal. It goes way beyond that, man. It goes to the conversation you have on a daily basis with yourself, the things that you keep repeating to yourself, you know, like all that law of attraction and all that kind of stuff is very real, you know. It's very, very real. And you have to be, I think one of the most important things that I'm doing now, like starting like a week ago, is to start being very careful with the words I speak to myself, you know, like the words I choose, because you can say something like, oh, I don't want to be in debt, right? But your brain doesn't recognize do or don't, just recognizes debt, you know?
Yeah.
That's how powerful that shit is. So guess what? You can be like, oh, I don't want to be in debt. I don't want to be in debt. And then the next thing you see in the mail is a bunch of fucking envelopes on credit cards and all this and all the shit that you own, right? But because
it's funny you bring that up because like for a long time, like it weirded me out that I operate this way. And like I've got family and friends that don't understand this. And to be honest, I don't really understand it. It's just how my brain works, I guess. So like if you ask me what my debts are, I can't answer that question. Without having to like physically pull up my phone and look, I have no fucking idea. All I know is that if I focus on making more impact and helping more people and making more money, I don't have to worry about what's coming out of my account.
There you
go. But the second, it was a weird switch because for the longest time, I was like, I know I have exactly this many bills. I know this is exactly how much I have to make every month. And I'd cover it, but it was never like, I never really had any play money or enjoyment. And I was kind of stressed all the time. And then one day I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to see what happens. And that like, this is going to sound weird. Even when I'm worried about being able to cover a bill, like I'm not really stressed about it. Cause I'm like, all right, let's figure out how to make that. And exactly. Like when I joined Apex Executives, I did not have the money to pay that. I just simply didn't. I just pulled the trigger. I had enough to cover 1 month's for the financing. I think it was like $3,000 or something. No idea how I was going to make the next one, let alone the rest of it. But I did the math. I'm like, that's this many accounts. If I can't make this many accounts by talking to the right people and getting to know the right influence and getting my mind right, then I'm fucking up somewhere. So I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Worst case scenario, I spent $3,000. Best case scenario, I made it happen. So
it's just fucking money, man. Who cares?
Man.
Yeah,
but it's weird because like everybody that I know that I've grown up with is like, so it costs me this much to live. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I can look it up if you want, but I don't know.
Yeah, but you know the thing, I feel that somebody next time ask you why you spend all this money and flying somewhere else and meet with these old people to talk about business and all that shit for the same reason why we have going through this pandemic without freaking out, you know, because being surrounded by the right people is what help us. You and me, we are the same network, you know, and other people in our network to get through all this, like nothing, like okay, we're good. We're actually stronger, you know, after these 3 months. We're freaking stronger. You know?
Yeah, because every single one of us, even if we were freaking the fuck out internally, we were like making it happen. Let's do this. Yeah. And the biggest thing that I love about the networks that we're in and the friends we've made and the influence we've done is not one of us has had a conversation of how do I make more money?
Yeah.
Because all of us are like, we know we're going to get paid by the size and the amount of problems that we solve. And maybe that's problems that we have to fix internally. Like I lost clients because of issues that I found in my company that I didn't know existed at the time. Right. But because of that, like we've worked on improving and getting better and solving things and preventing issues. And maybe we're solving problems outside. Like you're solving problems for tap houses and breweries that had no freaking idea they could even operate on the internet. And you come in and you're like, hey, boom, let's do this. But you're never going in like, I'm going to make this amount of money if I sell him this. You're going in and you're like, you got a problem, let's solve it. Fuck the rest of it. It'll happen.
Exactly. You're completely right, man. That's true. You know? So I think that's the best advice I can give to everybody listening to this, man. Like that's been the most powerful thing. And that is something that I will never take for granted again, ever in my life, man. Like forget about my mindset, you know, and I will keep working on it because that's what's going to make me the most powerful marketer in the craft beer industry. And whatever else I'm trying to accomplish in my life, because I have big goals, you know, and I know I'm going to crush every single one of them. Watch.
Good. All right. So we went a little bit over time, but it was a good call. So I was excited about it. So let's leave the people with some nice, juicy contact information on how they can get a hold of you if they or somebody they know is in the craft beer, tap house, bar, or hospitality industry that could use your help.
Actually, I have a very, very simple link where you can find every single social media where I have a profile active. And you can also find my podcast there. If you're in the craft beer industry, there's a link there to join my group. And there's also a link there where you can grab the deal of the day that is basically to apply to claim online menu for free. There's no cost up front for this online menu that we're building for the craft beer, for the breweries. So you just go to connect.marketingbrewingco.com, and then you can find every single contact information I have. If you want to reach to me on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, send me an email, website, podcast, every single channel that I have on my podcast. You find all that information in that link. So it's connect.marketingbrewingco.com, and that's where you find me. Or you can dial 800 sexy beer guy, and then no, I'm just kidding.
So that's the one he wants you to call. That's the one he wants you to call. Screw the other one. Call that.
Now, don't show this to my wife. She's gonna kill
me. Now, much like you, I've got a link tree as well. I have not installed a custom domain on it yet, so you're ahead of me. Bravo. I appreciate the action taken there. Mine is linktreebryce.phonesites.com. Now, as just a special, if you want to learn more about phone sites, you have questions about how link trees work, you want to know more about Break Free Academy or the G Code, because we've talked about it this whole episode, hit up Drew B. Wilson with Break Free Academy. He will get you taken care of and answer any of your questions. Just let him know that you saw us on the Inbound Secret and wanted to know more. That way, Drew B. knows how to take care of you. Above that, go ahead and make sure that you hit up Pedro here. Thank you for coming on my show today. And then last but not least, we have an outro. Mine is You're Made to Thrive, Not Just Survive. Pedro, you got one for the people?
Yeah, man. Stay safe, work hard, and cheers.
Right on. See y'all on the next episode.
Awesome, man. Later.
This is the Inbound Secret.
My name is Bryce, and I'm your host for The Inbound Secret, where we're talking with top performers and health experts and sales badasses alike about their strategies to optimize their well-being and performance. Once again, this is The Inbound Secret, and let's get rocking and rolling.
This is the Inbound. This is the Inbound. This is the Inbound.